So that's where we get to you here, Charlie. And I know that you probably don't think this is the best idea, but you just wrote in the outline, I'm not excited about this at all.
I'm really not.
That's disheartening.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess, and this maybe is where the fact that I'm not a fan anymore shows.
Yeah, okay.
Like maybe that's where it shows. Because but here's why I'm not excited about this. There's two reasons why I was opposed to this idea. And I think it's more one reason than the other, which is why I'm just not excited. The first reason, which I think probably is the better of the two reasons, is the concerns about development. That I worry that, either if you keep him up the whole year, you may lower his plausible ceiling because he may just get used to doing all the things that make you a good third line center and never actually develop the creativity and the skill plays that will allow him to be a top 6 center. I do worry about that. If he only gets the first 9 games and then he gets sent back, I worry less. I don't think it'll hurt him forever, but I do worry a bit that it messes up his entire junior year. I worry about that because there's a world where, if he ends up staying with the Flyers until early to mid-November, goes back, is a little, disappointed and a little down because he's not playing the NHL anymore, then he starts to figure it out. Then in mid-December, he leaves his junior team again to go to the World Junior Selection thing. There's a very real world where his junior season doesn't get normal until mid-January. And that, to me, doesn't seem like the best way to develop a guy. But all that being said, I would still have concerns about the developmental negatives of the potential developmental drawbacks of this move had Luchanko start to finish in this camp just kicked ass. I would still have had those concerns, but I would be real excited because my thing would be, okay, deep down, am I worried that this might not be the right move? Yeah, I am. I'm worried you're rushing a just turned 18-year-old. But man, he's just looked so good. Like you got to play him.
You can't say no.
You can't say no. You got to play him. And this is so exciting because we're watching an 18-year-old who was just drafted a few months ago, just killing it out there. And I would be excited to see if he can keep that up because that's fun to me. It's fun to me to be like I am very excited to see what Matvei Michkov can do in the NHL. And obviously a lot of that is the hype. But another part of it is he's been freaking great in preseason, and I want to see if he can keep doing that in the regular season. That's part of my excitement for Michkov is that we've seen it. Now it's like, okay, well, can you do it and when the games get real? I think he can, but we'll see. The thing with Luchanko is he's not playing that well. And I think that's why I'm not that excited because it's like, am I excited that he made the team? I'm excited for him.
Yeah, okay.
I'm excited for him. I am happy for him. I'm not excited to see the version of Jett Luchanko that I watched the last 3 preseason games in a regular season NHL game because that version of Jett Luchanko didn't strike me as all that impressive anyway. So it's like, I'm not that excited to see him because the version I've seen of him for the last week and a half has been nothing special relative to NHL competition. Now, if he was killing it, if he had done that Washington game 3 more times, I would still have concerns about the development, but I'd be real excited to see if he can just push through and still be awesome. He hasn't been awesome. So it's like, what am I excited about? Am I excited to see him, go real fast up and down the middle a bunch of times and finish with 1 shot attempt and do really nothing offensively? Like, no, not really. I can watch Ryan Poehling do that. I'm not excited just because his name is Jett Luchanko. I would be excited if I thought he had a chance to jump in and be awesome right away. And over the last 3 games, I've seen nothing to tell me that he's going to jump in and be awesome right away the same way I am excited to see if Michkov can be awesome right away because I think it's legitimately possible.
I guess we differ in terms of expectation. Like when I wanted him to make the team, when I was like, yeah, he should be here. I guess maybe I agree with the Flyers here. You should be uncomfortable. I want him to persevere through these first couple weeks, first couple months, whatever it might be, because he's not going to be very good right away. Like he is going to at least struggle in some. There might be some things he's good at right away. I guess
it's possible he kicks ass right away. That's possible. I just based on what he's done over the last 3 games, I don't think it's likely.
I just always thought like the kid's barely 18. October, November are going to be a figuring it out process for him. And then maybe we can see him progress as he gets more experience and gains confidence just because he's figuring out what he's doing a little bit. And if ultimately my other expectation is like he was never going to be a franchise center. He was never going to be this team's 1C. Now,
if that's never an option, then why are we so excited about it?
Are we
so excited about a future third line center? I want to be more excited about Jett. And what would make me more excited about Jett is if I saw something over the last 3 games that led me to believe he was ready to be an impact center.
It's not that ultimately I think he's just going to be a 3C. He's just going to be a Scott Lawton or something. I think he might be a very good second-line center one day. He might be able to do a lot of different things for you. Maybe the points totals never come, but he plays a bunch of different roles. Whatever it is, I just think, like, some of the things I saw him struggle with, I think he can only learn by doing at the NHL level. Like a very small thing, a very simple thing. He actually wasn't all that bad in the faceoff circle. He wasn't good.
Okay.
He was probably a little below average, somewhere between the 45 and 50% range.
Which is, again, real good for an 18-year-old.
18-year-old, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But he was like 5 of 6 every night in the offensive zone and 0 for 4 in the defensive zone. It's very hard to take defensive zone draws. You don't
it's a little tougher,
don't get the advantage.
to be sure.
And also, you're 18. I don't care how much you work out. You're not as strong and crafty as the dudes you're taking the draws against. He can't learn to do that except against NHL talent. There's no way for him to get better at that in juniors. And that's a small little thing, but I think it's representative of some of the stuff that I think you can learn at the NHL level as long as you can keep your head above water in other areas. Now, we've talked about this before. Like, maybe if Sean Couturier has another year or 2 of juniors or a year in the AHL, something like that, we find the offense before he's 26. Maybe. Maybe not. He did eventually win a Selke and have like 2 30-goal seasons before he got hurt. It did come around.
It came around eventually.
It did eventually come around. I've said, I think Luke Schenn, like, okay, you can do this one thing. You're just going to do this one thing. I think there was something more there with him. But by the time it was like, well, now you have 400 games played. You are who you are, bro. Like, and it just never got all the way there. He still may have had a nice career for himself, but I don't think anyone's like, oh, Luke Schenn, difference maker, I think it can go either way. But typically, I just think the cream rises to the top. And if they're willing to give him the opportunity, we can find out sooner, and maybe that can accelerate his prime. Maybe he's in his prime at 22 instead of 24.
Look,
like, I think these are all real possibilities.
Part the thing is that when you're talking about development, none of us know.
No, it's all a guessing game.
It's all a guessing game. It's all theory. And even if a guy doesn't develop the way that you hoped he was going to develop, it's not like we can go back into a time machine and do it a different way. Like, we don't know.
He just wasn't good enough, and that's all you can say.
We don't know if Luke Schenn would have been better if he would have been developed differently. You can theorize and you can debate on a show like this. None of us know. And that's both the fun and the frustration of player development. I'm not saying that, like, I know for a fact I'm 100% right. It's just that what I am confident of, I don't know if this is going to be good or bad for Luchanko's development. It might be good. And if I will, now that he's on the team, like, I'm rooting for it to be good for his development. I want him to develop well. What I can be confident about is my evaluation that he wasn't that good the last 3 games. Like, that is something that I can say I don't know for sure about development. I am pretty confident in my ability to evaluate player performance in games.
Watch a guy, good or bad.
Yes.
Like, if it was a binary thing, like, and that's the.
I don't have time for people arguing with me on Twitter saying, no, you just don't get it. He was awesome in those games. Like, was he? He had 3 shot attempts in 3 games.
That's the, like, you can say he did little things well. There were times certain aspects of his game really popped.
The Flyers lost the scoring chance battle in his final 2 games 16-3 when he was on the ice. Where did all these little things do anything to help the team?
That's ultimately,
like, actually win the territorial battle.
If you were to say, like, good bad, it wouldn't be the good column,
Right.
Like, and I fully agree with that. I am now just looking at it as, I kind of said all along, I just want more of a sample size.
Okay.
I want to see if this kid is as mature and his hockey IQ is as good as they say. Maybe he's a quick study. Maybe in game 1, yeah, man, it's like expected goals 3-0 when he's on the ice.
That would be awesome.
Like, I mean, the other way.
Then I would be excited.
Oh, I meant the other way. He gets crushed.
Oh, I thought you were saying that they were 3-0 in favor of the Flyers.
0-3.
Then I would feel the excitement that you guys are feeling now.
Like, maybe game 1 he gets crushed.
Okay.
And maybe game 4 he has figured it out and he's breaking even. And maybe game 8, when it's time, like, okay, we got to make a decision.
Right.
Suddenly, him, Brink, and Farabee have a 4-point night and we're off to the races.
Right.
Like, I think that's very much on the table, and that's why I want more of a sample size. And I'm hoping that's how they're looking at it. But we know they don't really love the idea of the tryout because of exactly what you said. When you send them down, it can really screw with them, and it's a different situation. But Emile Andre last year, by the end of the year, LaPerriere was like, yeah, this dude's our best defenseman. And we see now, like, yeah, he should probably be on this team. It's a numbers game, but he was good enough to be on this team.
Yeah, agreed.
But those first couple of weeks, that first month when he got sent down, everyone said it was bad. Like, that's a unanimous, that is the consensus. Like, yeah, man, he had trouble adjusting and dealing with the idea of being demoted after making the NHL team. We will see if that happens to Jett Luchanko. Hopefully he's here for all 82, man. That would be great.
I mean, if he's here for all 82 and he's playing well and justifies it, then I'll be thrilled. If he is here for all 82 and he scores 15 points, and the only reason why he's here is because John Tortorella wants a fast center, then I won't be happy.
And that's where we started with at the very beginning with the Tortorella stuff, and it took us 30 minutes to get there. We both think Lycksell and Richard had better camps.
And Andre.
And Andre as well. But at least those guys are forwards.
And this also probably plays into why I'm not excited about it, because there is absolutely a part of me, and this will always be part of me, where, like, I know we live in an unfair world, but I like it when things feel fair, and this doesn't feel fair to me. It feels like Luchanko got outplayed by multiple people, and he got put on the opening night roster because he's a center and because the Flyers were looking out for him from the start of camp because they wanted to be excited about him.
And that's you have said from when we first started working together, like, the thing that's great about sports is it's at least supposed to be a true meritocracy.
Right.
You are better than him, so you get paid more than him, you play more than him. Like, that's the way sports works.
Right. And that's part of the reason why I think this rubs me the wrong way. In a way that it probably, like, other people don't give a crap that Ole Lycksell didn't make the team. It's like, who cares? He probably stinks. And you know what? He's probably just a quad A guy.
Good chance he does. Yeah.
But I think in this preseason, he was better than Jett Luchanko. So it makes it harder for me when I'm looking at it in terms of, like, does this feel fair? To me, it doesn't.
We all silly like the mayor.